Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Joy with Joy-Filled Journey. I wanted to do a curriculum review for you today on this Mission Faith Forgers curriculum. This is by Brandy Farrell over at Half a Hundred Acre Wood. If you've never checked out her blog, definitely go and do that. She is a wealth of information over there. Tons and tons of stuff from planning to poetry to handwriting curriculums. She has a lot of things over there that are really fantastic. Last year, she created a curriculum called Mission World Wonders, and this year she has changed and done Mission Faith Forgers. Now, you don't have to do classical conversations to do this curriculum. It stands alone, but I do classical conversations, so I really appreciate each one that she's doing goes along with a cycle of classical conversations. So I love that about it because it's already planned out for me. All I have to do is open and go and pick the book, and it's so easy. So last year when she did the Mission World Wonders curriculum, it went along with cycle 1 of classical conversations, and it was fantastic because everything, again, like I said, was laid out. I had a 6th grader last year, and if you know anything about classical conversations, that's the last year before they move on to the challenge program. So I was looking to do a little something else with him, a little bit different than we'd ever done before, and this completely fit the bill. Again, it was the Faith Forgers one, but this curriculum was fantastic. It added in science, it added in history, it added in all these other elements that I wanted to kind of dive a little deeper into, but I didn't want to have to take the time to do all of this research myself. And she did it for me. Thank you, Brandy. And so we really, really loved it. But I have to tell you, overall, the thing that we loved the most were these books. And these are published by YWAM Publishing. They are called Christian Heroes Then and Now. There's a whole series of books like this, all on different people, different missionaries. And it's so incredible to read about their lives. And I had a 11 and 12-year-old, like 11, and he turned 12 over this last year. And I have got to say, I really saw the spiritual growth in him when we listened to these missionary stories, because there's just something about hearing about another person's life and reading about their life that really is so impactful to even my life. I loved these stories probably just as much or more than he did, but we had some really deep conversations after listening to these missionary stories. And there was one in particular that he came to me, and he had just been wrestling through something that was pretty appropriate to his age, but he referenced a missionary story that we had listened to, and I cannot tell you what that did for me as a mom, because those are the kind of things that I, as a parent, and especially trying to raise my son to love Jesus and to, share that love with the world. These books, I would say so far, besides, church and Sunday school and reading his Bible, these books come next on that list. So it's been amazing. Okay, so what I want to do today is show you the teacher's guide, and Brandy was so kind to send this to me this year so I can show you in the video. I know she has some flip throughs on her channel as well, but I have all the books lined up here so you can see them, and I can kind of give you a little overview on each one. Some of them are from last year, because I really appreciate that she actually had reused some of the books that we didn't make it all the way through last year. She reused them this year, which was fantastic, so I didn't have to buy as many books. I really appreciated that. So each day she has a sample schedule for you so you can see exactly what she suggests you do each day. We didn't do it exactly like this, but we tried for a while. I actually really enjoyed some of these, and it's really nice to see what other people do for their schedules, isn't it? On this page, there's a welcome, and I'm not going to show you this in particular, this little area I have my hand over, because it is the password to the supplemental resource guide page. And the fantastic part about that is there are so many other resources that she offers, but it's not overwhelming. It's like, okay, the science, here's some extra science things, or here are some maps that you can print out, or here's YouTube links to some of the songs that you guys are going to learn, things like that. So very helpful resources. I used it quite frequently last year. the nice thing is she walks you through each piece and she kind of tells you what the goals are and how to use it. Okay, so here is Unit 1, Week 1, and this starts with the early church. So as you can tell, there's days 1 through 4, and I really like that, especially for our classical conversations week. We only do 4 days, and then our fifth day is community day. So I really like that. It's such an easy format. I cannot tell you how easy it is, because here are the days 1, 2, 3, 4, and then here are the different, categories. And so I love it. Like, it's so easy. I would just open this up like on Sunday or even sometimes Monday morning, and I'd be like, okay, I need this book, this book, this book. I kept it all together on one part of my shelf, and I could just grab out the books and flip to the page, and it was really quite simple. So I really like that. The format, I can't say enough about it. The other thing that's really nice is it's all in a 2-page format like this. Every week you have a 2-page format. So this tells you what to do every day. Then over here, she's made it super simple for you. She has the science supplies needed for that week and any art ideas or Torchlight or activity supplies, and we'll get to that in a minute. And then she even has like day 1 and the devotion and why she included it for that day, like just different things that explain how it kind of all ties together. So I'm going to start with geography. First of all, there is a geography CD. I did not get the book that goes along with this, but there's a book that would go along with it. I would probably recommend getting it because I wish I had it. But this has all of the audio songs for tons of different areas of the world. It puts them all to song, so you can print off the maps from her supplemental resource page that Brandy provides for you, and then you pop this CD in, and as you're finding the places on the map, it goes to a song. It's really fantastic. I enjoyed this a lot because we learned all of Africa and a lot of different other areas of the world. We learned quite a bit in 1 year. I was really impressed. And then the second book that we also used last year that's carrying over into this year is Window on the World. I cannot tell you. This book is full of awesome facts about different countries, but there's so much packed into one page. It's really awesome. Or this is a 2-page spread, I guess. And it talks about the country. It tells you like the important parts, of the map and such like that. Has a little fact file with population and the capital and the main languages. It gives you some pictures so you can kind of visualize it. And then it just talks about over here, this little yellow box, it talks to the kids through how they can pray about this country and also what they can thank God for, the things that are actually happening in this country. And this book was just updated last year, so I feel like it's kind of, they've updated all of these things, which is really cool to see how God is moving in different countries. So it's really, really cool book. I love it. The next one is the Usborne Geography Encyclopedia. And again, this one was used last year. I've had this for a while. It is chock full of information. You only read a couple of pages at a time. It's also a fantastic resource. And then this one is really fun. I don't know if you can tell how big this is. It's quite big. I will say, every time I got this out, my kids just flocked around me because it's such a big book. I think they were like, what is that? And then each of these pages, if you can see, have amazing illustrations on them. And we had a lot of fun reading this book. Sometimes I was just like, I wish we'd read the atlas today, but when it got to it, it was just, my kids really, really loved it. A lot of times I would read to my kids as they were playing or doing something else, or if they're eating lunch. Okay, the next one is science. So I'm going to show you some of the science things that we have this year. Okay, so we have 2 science books, Our Universe and Machines in Motion. And I'm looking forward to when I pull this book out, that my 7th grader is probably going to come over and want to hear about this because he loves machines and how they work, loves it. So I'm looking forward to doing this with my 4th grader and my 2nd grader this year. My 7th grader might get in on parts of it, but probably not all of it. So his curriculum is different this year. Next is history, and we do Story of the World. She has volumes 3 and 4 for this year. This is 3, this is 4. She also suggests having volumes 1 and 2 because there's just a few days in both of those, but it's optional. We do this all on audiobook because we drive in the car or we are eating lunch and I'm eating with the kids and I can't read out loud. So we always do Story of the World. Plus we really like the narrator's voice. At first I was just like, oh boy, but now it's grown on me and I really, really like it. So I like to listen to this as much as the kids do. Then we have an art, music, and scripture memory portion. And this is the art book that we're using this year, another Usborne book. It's the complete book of art ideas. And I'm really excited about this book because we used a different one last year and we had a lot of fun with it. So I'm looking forward to this book this year for art. And then to go along with that, a book we did use last year was The Story of the Orchestra. So as you can tell, it comes with a CD. It's really such a quick read, and my kids loved to listen to the classical music in here. But you would learn about cymbals and gongs and tam-tams, and then you would read this, and it tells you to play track number 32. So it's a really simple thing to read. They loved looking at the pictures. So it was just a fun kind of just thing I could slip in whenever, or if we needed kind of a break, they could listen to music or whatnot. Another part to the music is this book. It's called Then Sings My Soul. And it's really kind of cool because it has these old looking pages and just kind of worn and tattered. But as you can tell, it has the hymn on one side and it explains the hymn. It tells about the author of the hymn, why he wrote it or she, and just kind of gives the history just in one page format. As you can tell, they're all like that. Like the music's on the left side and this is on the other side. So it's really so good. I mean, some of these just pull at your heartstrings. The hymns that we do are also linked on Brandy's supplemental resource page. So she'll have a link to a YouTube video and you can actually sit and listen to it, which is nice, especially if you don't know the hymn. The last thing is Bible Reedies, and I had never heard of this before. It comes with both a CD and a DVD set. And I will say I was a little skeptical because I thought, oh, it looks kind of young. But I popped the DVD in, and even my seventh grader, my soon-to-be seventh grader, was pretty enraptured. He listened to the whole thing, and it has the books of the Bible. It has some, it has the Beatitudes. It has the Lord is my shepherd. It has the books of the Bible, like I said. It has Amazing Grace, the Lord's Prayer. Like, it has a bunch of things on here that I know, but my kids don't necessarily know just because churches don't do that as much anymore. So I'm really excited about this. I am really excited. Now that I've actually listened to it, I think it's going to be a great addition to our school this year. And that wraps up the art, music, and scripture memory. The last two sections kind of go together. So there's church history and then missionary read-alouds. And those are these Heroes Then and Now books that I explained to you. But the church history, let's go ahead and go over that. So for the church history, they have God's Timeline, this big book of church history, and it includes 16 timelines and a pull-out timeline poster. Okay, who gets a little crazy about things like this? I love timeline stuff, and I love it in book form because I don't like a bunch of things floating around, like trying to string them all together. So I'm really excited about this book. I think it's going to be helpful for my kids to be able to plug in other things that they're learning into this timeline. And I was really excited about that book. Okay, the next thing for church history is this Trial and Triumph book. I have not read this yet, and I haven't looked into it yet, but I actually put it in my Goodreads because I saw somebody reading it and they said, oh, it's so good. And so it's been sitting there for probably 2 years and I haven't read it. So when I saw this was on her in her curriculum, I was really glad because it's been on my list to read forever. And then let's see. Oh, then it goes to the Torchlighters Ultimate Activity Book, which will be really exciting. My kids will enjoy this. So there's just an activity book here. It has a lot of different things in it. And what goes along with this are the Torchlighter animated series. So if you're a member of Amazon Prime, or honestly, if you do Classical Conversations, Right Now Media is included in that at Classical Conversations. You can watch any of these for free, any of the Torchlighter videos that go along, of course, with the activity books. So there is a DVD set you can buy if you don't have those other two options. And then the last thing are the missionary read-alouds. I showed you an example of the Heroes Then and Now. And then there's, let's see, 5 of these kind of books. And then this book, God's Smuggler. And this is by Brother Andrew. And I don't know anything about this book, but it's all I can do not to read ahead and read it. Honestly, that's how these were last year. Because we would do it on audiobook, like sometimes after the kids would go to bed, we would listen to a chapter at night or something. And it was all I could do to stop it. And I was like, man, it's really late. I should really shut it off. But it kept my kids like silent, because they just loved it so much. So that is the entire curriculum for Mission Faith Forgers. Again, this is the teacher guidebook, and I cannot tell you, this was just like an answer to an unspoken prayer when I saw that Brandy was creating this curriculum last year, because it was just the answer that I was looking for, but I didn't even know what I was looking for. And again, this is the teacher guidebook. So I just want to thank Brandy Farrell at Half a Hundred Acre Wood and her family, because I know they all put in long hours, they all help, and they all allow Brandy the time and energy to format this and go over it with a fine-toothed comb and all of that goes into curriculum making. It's a lot. So I just hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. I'm sure Brandy will answer anything that I don't know. But make sure and head over to her website. I will leave a link in the description box below. And thanks so much for watching.